Ready when you are.
All right. And we are live. Hello and welcome to the Verhoeven Effect podcast. I'm Conlon.
And I'm Nathan.
And in this season 1 of the Verhoeven Effect, we are exploring network television because me and Nathan generally don't watch network television. And we are exploring the police procedurals of network television. We have 2015's the NCIS New Orleans. Or maybe it was 14. Yeah, well, anyways. 2008's The Mentalist and 1984's Miami Vice. As always, we start with NCIS New Orleans. We have Season 1, Episode 17. Episode More Now.
Okay, go ahead.
Original air date March 10th, 2015, CBS Tuesday. Pride becomes convicted his nemesis... Oh, convinced. Sorry. Pride becomes convinced his nemesis Baitfish has returned and in an attempt to locate him instructs the team to investigate crime scenes and the chase leads from New Orleans to Charleston, South Carolina. Showrunner Gary Glasberg, written by Christopher Silber, directed by Bethany Rooney.
Yeah, this is like an episode that calls back to another episode.
Yes, I believe so. Sometimes how Paramount projects things is different because, like, I know, like on The Mentalist, sometimes you get like the previously ons, and sometimes you get like on next week's Mentalist, but that doesn't happen because I don't know, it's just weird. But I believe this is the first time they've ever had an NCIS that said previously on, and it shows you what happened on different episodes.
Yeah, and it didn't like open with a scene from the series and then cut to credits. It just opened with previously on, then rolled the credits. And then we jumped right into the doctor getting shot in his bedroom.
Yeah, it's in Charleston, South Carolina. There's a post-coital scene, and then a guy's just shot, and then a woman shot, but you never see the guy shooting it, but you assume it's Baitfish, purely based on the whole previously on thing. So
yeah.
And then, I noted something that I never saw in the credits before, but like one of the in the opening, well, not the opening credits, but kind of like when they come back to frame and there's still credits being shown on screen. There's one as Daryl Chill Mitchell. I'm like, who's that? And so that's the guy who plays Patton.
Okay.
That's that guy. Then I looked it up. He's really a paraplegic. He got in a motorcycle accident in 2001 and severed a vertebrae in his spine. So, yeah, I guess he used to be a rapper and various other arts things, and ended up in acting and is friends with a bunch of well-known people. Like apparently he's friends with Denzel Washington.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, he's here as their tech guru. But yeah, sometimes you wonder about that. Like, is this person really, like, are they really disabled, or is that something for the show? It's like, no, this guy's really disabled and he's in the show. So, yeah, I think this is the first time we go outside of New Orleans, other than like venturing onto the sea or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I forgot that one episode. Like they go to like Iran or something, right?
Yeah. There's some time when they go to rescue someone who's decoding something.
And then apparently, like, so there's cops at this scene of these murders, and they're just doing their job. And then Pride just comes in and starts telling them like what happened and who did it. And they're like, "How do you know that?" And like you're asking yourself the same question. It's like he hasn't even been at the crime scene or anything. He just knows this stuff already. But I mean, he's right. But that's because he needs to be. But then then also then the guy's like telling him to get out of there because that's their jurisdiction until they take the case over. It's their case. And he's like, all right, yeah. But apparently he swipes an SD card off the phone of the doctor.
Like a crime.
Yeah. Which he justifies as saying it's like, it's not stealing if you intend to give it back. It's like, no, that's not how the law works.
Yeah. If that was the case, I mean, yeah, that Ferrari sitting in my driveway, I'll get back to that.
Yeah, he's got two of them. He wasn't using that one.
Yeah.
It's community property, man. Then also, like, back in New Orleans, they, like, LaSalle and Brody haven't heard from Pride in a while, so they bust into his room to make sure everything's okay, and that's when they find the conspiracy board, and then they think, like, oh, great, is Pride losing his mind?
Yeah, it's basically like the Beautiful Mind stuff. It's just things on a wall, all taped together.
But yeah, like, Pride's tracking down bait fish after there is some speculation that, well, after Wade figures out the body that they found wasn't his because of dental records.
Yeah.
So this is what Pride's been doing in the background of every other episode. But also they make Baitfish out to be like a criminal mastermind, despite the last time we met him, he was like a short order cook who made a bomb.
Yeah, it seemed like this character's developed into something like, oh, is this guy the Joker? Like he's everywhere and everything.
And they make the choice to not show him.
Yeah.
Because last time we saw, he was like dyeing his hair. So what's the big reveal? Is that like, oh, now he has red hair? Or is it going to be something even like weirder? Like it's like going to be a completely different actor and he got like plastic surgery or whatever. So
well, see, that's kind of what I thought, because they were like, this doctor got killed.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, this guy's like having his like, they didn't say what kind of doctor. This guy's like having facial reconstruction or something done. And it's like, where's he getting all this? Like, even the people on the show are like, where's he getting the money to do all this? But then they tie in other things. And the most obvious bad lady who's supposed to be good, who I knew was bad when they first the character is revealed as, is like, she's still like the rest of her family. It's like, duh. I was not surprised by that at all.
No.
I was like, it's obvious.
Yeah, I juggled that the wrong way. As soon as she showed up in the first episode that precedes this, I immediately thought she was guilty, and by the end I thought like, oh, we're supposed to think she's not guilty, and then you had it the other way around and you're correct. It's like, no, she's the one doing it. So,
it's in the blood, If your parents and your family's all criminals, you're going to be a criminal whether you want to be or not.
Yeah.
We watched the. Oh, we didn't.
I mean, that's what the Republicans will tell you. So.
Yeah, well, that's what The Sopranos teaches.
Yeah.
You're just born to this.
Oh yeah. Also, this is. I'm not sure. I wonder if they carry this forward. But Pride's carrying a big revolver rather than like his NCIS standard issue sidearm.
I just called that the revenge revolver in my notes.
Yeah.
He's like Dirty Harry with the revolver.
Well, I thought it was something like, he's going across state lines, which, I'm not sure how he's a federal officer, so it's probably fine for him to conceal carry. But I thought like, he didn't want his duty weapon like on this like side job that he's doing, so he has the revolver out. But for the rest of the episode, he just has the revolver. He's not even doing the thing where he always does, where he opens up the file cabinet and then sticks it in his bag.
Yeah, as I wrote it down, I just wrote revolver, and then it keeps getting bigger, and finally, like the fourth time, I wrote in big letters, revenge revolver. It's like it shows a change of his character, like an evolution or a side path. Because when you go down dark alleys, you carry guns with like 8-inch barrels. Because that's your revenge revolver.
Yeah.
He's gonna shoot someone with it, and they're gonna have to do wire work to throw him through the air 10 feet, because that's how guns work.
Or they try to make it work the other way too, where like he has to brace himself against a wall, and it pushes the wall back as he hits the guy.
Yeah, he just like breaks through a masonite wall, but his arm and wrist are fine. Like direct transfer of energy through the body into the wall. Super gun.
And the guy flies off into the ocean.
Yeah, he splits in half. He was shot with a 50 caliber. Revenge revolver. Pride holds the gun up to the sky. Oh! Like, wow, this show has some weird elements. None of this happens, by the way.
Yeah, no. We're just we're taking like we're taking, what do they call that? What's something that's
No, go ahead.
what is it? It's why have I get? It's something that basically it's always done. It's a trope. Yeah, it's a trope.
Yeah,
that, like
trope.
some. Yeah, so that's.
I was
why
just
we're making
thinking
that.
I'm taking some of the obvious banality of some of these parts of some of these shows and just making it into my own weird imagination. Because I just write notes like I'm writing show notes. Like, oh, make it the gun in Preacher. Like, just why not? It's ridiculous. It's immediately noticeable. It's obvious. It's a tell, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe this will develop into something later on. It's like, oh, we got an explanation for this.
Yeah, or if he just carries this revolver the rest of the show, that'd be weird too.
Yeah, it just changes up. It's like a change of underwear. So you're going from like 15 shots in your Sig Sauer to like 6. It's like, yeah, I'm much better now. I don't need to saturate my target with bullets.
I just want to make sure they're dead. Okay.
I mean, that's something we've noticed in Miami Vice too. It's like Crockett has a big 10mm handgun and a variety of other weapons. Tubbs is always whipping that 38 around, just as effective with it.
Yeah.
You don't need the flashy stuff. Just a little airweight 38 will do it.
You just got to get the bullet in there, and it's fine. Yeah. Whether you do it with a driver or a pitching wedge, it doesn't matter. Just get the ball in the hole.
I'm not just talking about it. I use one. Of course, they didn't make them out of titanium in the Miami Vice days, or whatever this is. Not titanium, something else. Yeah. Anyway,
it's aluminum alloy or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or is it some steel alloy? Anyways, so they make Pride out to be like some sort of like unhinged in a way, and they're like, "You okay?" And then like but he's like, and so like that everybody's cautioning that, but it doesn't really like come to take hold, or there's not really a moment where it's like, "Oh, Pride's wrong. This is all garbage." It's like he's going insane. It's just
Black's never like, first my brother, then Pride. Everywhere. It's like, no, it turns out like Pride's right, but in a self-destructive way. Like, kind of, that is the thing with his character. Like, he's generally right, but he's also kind of self-denying, angry, doesn't know how to really relax.
Yeah.
Or even when he does, it's very forced. It's like,
I mean, he relaxed by cooking and playing piano, but he's only relaxed while he's doing those things. It doesn't relax him when he's not doing those things.
Yeah.
He goes from like, I'm playing piano and now I'm unhinged and looking for clues. As soon as a note stops playing, that's what happens to Pride.
Or I mean Black. I meant LaSalle.
The actor's name is Lucas Black. So that's why
it's the character's an actor. And then Brody had like very little to do in this.
No.
I noticed that. It was like, go check on that. And it was like, well, there goes Brody. Okay.
So I'm guessing here, which makes me curious about what happens later on. There's one thing I do know, but there's some things I don't know. I do know in NCIS occasionally to kind of like freak the audience out or surprise them, they will kill off main characters.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't surprise me anymore, but yeah.
So I'm kind of waiting for Brody to be put on the sacrificial pedestal of exciting television, because the undercover agent we meet in here, Sonia, I liked her, and I was like, I wonder what else has she done, and so she goes on to be a series regular.
Okay.
So, at least, well, she's in 71 episodes, so she's in like 3 other seasons.
Yeah.
So
she's like an ATF.
Yeah, she's ATF. So I'm wondering if like that's Brody's replacement. I don't know, but we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Where is it?
We haven't even really talked about what happened in the app. We got the side railed on.
Well, yeah, because like the opening of it is like Pride's off on his own. He's off on a leash, and then everybody discovers his conspiracy board, and then they're concerned about him.
except Sebastian, who's like, God, we kind of have a bond now. Like, all the time.
Yeah.
Didn't he say that? Like, are we brothers now or something?
Yeah,
And
or I feel a special connection between us now.
And Dwayne does, that Scott Bakula is just, he does that kind of acting thing. Like, yeah, whatever. Keep feeling that it's not reciprocated. Weird little man.
If we weren't on the job, I wouldn't talk to you.
Yeah. I'm just a dude I work with.
The next note I have is Dr. Victim may have been dealing or cooking drugs.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird, like, side road. Because it turns out the doctor was volunteering at some of these, like a
free clinic.
Around here they have a name for them, like crisis clinic or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, it's basically they do a few hours a week, and apparently they're like taking in massive amounts of painkillers and into this clinic under his license, and apparently they're just being sold on the streets. Like it's oxys, right? Yeah, it was oxys.
Yeah. Well, they say it. Yeah, they say it's oxys. They refer to this place as a pill mill, and they also make some point that like the spectral analysis of the drug because they found the like traces of his drugs in his lungs because he's just around all these drugs. And apparently they're not sealed properly, and he's just inhaling drugs all day. I don't know.
Well, it sounds like it was like oxy that they're like cooking.
Yeah, it seems they're making like a super oxy or something.
Yeah. Super oxy.
Well, I mean, so the whole thing about OxyContin, the contin part of that stands for continuous.
Yeah.
Because what it is, it's like a pill that like a layer will dissolves away. You get a bit of the painkiller, and then there's another layer beyond that, and so it's like
That's why people are crushing it up and snorting it.
Yes, because then there's you get all of it. Yes.
Okay.
So that might be why he's inhaling it, because they're basically removing all the dissolving elements from it and just making it pure oxy.
Okay, I learned something tonight. I didn't know. I just thought people were chopping up oxys and snorting them to so it's like cocaine. Isn't this fun? It's like, well, you can just swallow it, but now the common part of it is okay.
Yes, that's why it was such a good drug, is because it's like you take one and then it manages your pain properly throughout the day. And then people are like, nah, let's supersede that. I want the full hit.
Chop. Oh, that's stuff. When I had surgery, they gave me a bunch of those. Well, not a bunch. Gave me 10, and it was like take 2. I think I told this story, but I couldn't remember. I was trying to read because I was on bed rest, and it was like, yeah, just take 2 of these as needed for pain, because I just had like surgery. Okay, so I'd take 2 and sit down and read, and I was kind of like, well, I'm not in pain, but I couldn't read because I couldn't remember anything I was reading, because I'd have to like keep flipping back in the Kindle. And then when I went in for my like analysis or observation or whatever a week later, like, do you want any more drugs? I said, oh no, those suck. And they're like, why? And I said, because I can't remember anything I read. And the guy just laughed. He goes, I've never heard that complaint about drugs. I said, I couldn't. I'd read a page and I'd be like, wait a minute. I'd have to go back, and I realized I was doing it for 40 minutes. So yeah, I couldn't imagine being that. I couldn't imagine like snorting that. Like, I can't remember my name. Who knows what effects it would have?
It was anti-Adderall. It was giving you ADHD.
Yeah, I couldn't generate any memories at all. Reading a book was like memento for me. It's like, write notes in the margin to remember what I did 5 minutes ago. But,
now we're having fun. We're having fun here, getting off track, and so we're having fun. And I'm going to allow that. But I'm also going to say this was a fairly decent episode with a lot of plot holes. But I think it was an exciting episode. But we'll get back to it.
Yeah, once we get off our oxy. Super oxy, yeah.
So they have Frank Broussard, who got the bombing pinned on him from the previous episode that this is a sequel to, essentially. Yeah. And so they're pretty sure that like he didn't do it, like it was bait fish. And so they're kind of looking, but they want to get information on their stuff, and so they try to get Frank to give them information, but he's only going to get it if he basically assures them that they're gonna like get him out of jail and not pin the murders on him from the bombing.
Yeah, he wants all the drug stuff and everything taken off, because he had other charges against him too, and he wants them all to go away.
Yeah.
And they agree to that.
Yeah, and so when they go work that up, of course he is murdered in prison. So.
Yes, the most predictable consequence occurs. The most porous prison in Louisiana. You know.
Although there was like a deft bit of a storytelling where like they go and Brody's interviewing the guy that supposedly killed him, and she has like hamburgers there, and then she's getting information, and as soon as she like finds out, like thinks that he's lying, she like takes the hamburgers away, and then she looks at the guard and like, hey, you want a hamburger? And then she mentions his name, so now you know that guy. But then like she tries to get the prisoner to like, what did you stab him with? And he basically guesses the wrong weapon because the guy was just trying to get like a reputation in jail.
Yeah, he was basically willing to take the fall for a murder for what, like a Snickers bar or something. It makes some snide comment about what were you going to get about lying about this murder, because he wasn't there on like super serious charges, like he was not a murderer or whatever. So it seemed it was kind of interesting because
it seems like either way, it seems like if they charge him with murder, he's going to be in there forever. If they don't, they're probably going to tack on more stuff for lying to the cops.
Yeah, it's like, you lost. Why are you in prison with this wonderful decision making power you have? I'm amazed.
I mean, probably the only thing they didn't make it. So essentially, it's the guard that actually killed Frank Broussard, and maybe there's money in the wind for this prisoner or something, but we don't know. But like,
what we do is we establish an agent of action for the rest of the show. It's like someone who's now going to do Baitfish's will, the prison guard, because they never show Baitfish because he's, again, this puppet master now. Maybe, we don't know.
Or side puppet master. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, that's the whole episode is, it puts everything on him, but we all know where it's actually, where the mastermind is. We all
And I knew as soon as she came on camera again, it's like, oh, she's doing this. Okay.
Yeah, so we have was it Sasha? Yeah, they bring back Sasha Broussard comes back. Pride interviews her, and also like when Brody and LaSalle are investigating the clinic. And then there's a woman there that seems suspicious and won't even look at the photo that they're showing. Then she runs out. And then they run into her again when they go back to the clinic, and it's just purely wiped out. It's like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. Just like a medical facility, just immediately gone. It's like, apparently it's all false. And then she's just carrying like files around. She's the only one in the building. They chase her down, and then they find out that she's an ATF agent working some angle with where people running the pill mills are also running guns or something. So
I was kind of surprised at what was going on in the episode after that point, because I remember I was watching it and she revealed herself as an ATF agent. I'm like, okay, but they continue to move her around handcuffed and kind of pushing her. I was like, what the hell are they doing? It's like, oh, then I remember like, oh, I had to go back because they're maintaining her cover.
Yes.
As if she got arrested. But I was watching that, I was like, why are they being such a dick to her? Got her in cuffs and like throwing her in the car, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. I was kind of thrown for a second, like, what are they doing?
Well, they're also kind of a contentious relationship between them, because she's like, they're on the verge of ruining my case that I spent years on.
Yeah, because she's got a whole other component like this. It's a street gang. They're doing drugs and guns, and there's like another arc to this.
Yeah.
That we kind of doesn't develop yet, but I think it will.
Yeah.
Because like you said, she appears in a bunch of other episodes.
The only other part I don't understand is the prisoner guard coming after Sasha.
Yeah.
Because it's like, was she ordering a hit on herself? But that doesn't really make sense. It's like, is this purely here for the drama and to throw off Sasha? But it's not like Sasha did that intentionally. It seemed like the only thing I can think of is like the prisoner, the prison guard is trying to cut loose of everything so he can get away, but he has to like apparently kill everybody in the operation or something. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But
I don't know, because they did comment again. About, she's like, oh, she was a good shot.
Yeah.
It was a nice close grouping, and of course it was one of these. it was a nice close grouping, and they were like, yeah, she's holding up pretty well actually, you know, for what she just did. And I didn't think anything of it at the time, but by the end of the episode, I was like, oh, okay. I think she did that on purpose, maybe to establish, because notice he didn't have a firearm.
Yeah, but what?
He was just a lot bigger and stronger than her.
Yeah, but what was he going to do anyways?
Well, I think,
or you think like Baitfish, like she told Baitfish to tell him to come after her, and then she defended herself, and that's her alibi.
She had a gun conveniently available.
Okay,
got roughed up a little bit to make it believable.
Yeah,
yeah, she always was going to kill that guy because that guy didn't come with like a machine gun or something.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like he could have just walked up to the front door with a shotgun and like, oh, that's it. You know, there's easier ways to do that than what they show in this show. And also we established that the prison guard was some kind of pillhead, so that was kind of their agent or their agency over him. So you know, people that are far gone into that can't remember what they read or plan very well. So,
but he seemed to break into the house fine. So
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, large motor motion, sure, but. As far as consequences and planning, not so much.
Yeah, but the only, and it seemed like the only thing that worked against her was that she had the files on the table that were now evidence because he fell and bled on them. And that's where they kind of figure out that, oh, this is a whole organization of shell corporations that then lead into her charity work.
Yeah.
And you know, she's bringing the Bassard syndicate back to New Orleans. So.
Surprise, said no one, but yeah. Or maybe some people were surprised. You were surprised.
I don't know. I mean, wasn't. I just guessed it wrong. Like, you know, as soon as she comes back this episode, it's like there's no reason to bring her back unless she's the boss
or the victim.
Yeah, I guess
more motivation for Pride's. You know, just let's make another Venn diagram on my wall.
They have a bit where like they go to like bust the gang, and then like they chase down a car, and it's Sonya's like running like a truck full of drugs presumably, and they let her go, but she like gets some, she like pretends to shoot at Pride. It's like
she's like, go left, and then she just shoots at the ground.
Yeah.
And he like aims his gun. Is like, is he gonna fire the rage gun? No, he didn't.
So they maintain her cover. So
yeah.
Then you have a music cue, which I think is the first time in the series that isn't just like the opening credit sequence.
Yeah, I didn't. That caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that.
And you have like, you know, it's this kind of like sex scene between Sasha and presumably Baitfish, but it's behind like the frosted glass of a shower.
Yeah, she just like steps into a running shower.
Yeah. You know, she's talking to somebody that we know there, but we don't see their face. And this is like the third or second time they intentionally show the guy, but not his face. So that's to be another reveal later on. So, but yeah, that is more now. An exciting episode of New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with it, but I enjoyed it too. I wasn't like bored, you know.
A lot of these shows are built around every episode is encased unto itself, and so this was an episode where it required you to know other things from other episodes. So
yeah,
and not just like, oh, LaSalle has a brother and he's back again. And so we have our second show, The Mentalist, with season 1, episode 17, Carnelian Inc.
Yep.
Original air date, March 24th, 2009, CBS Tuesday. The Attorney General received some strange email. CBI is ordered to investigate. They're soon investigating a high-profile murder that involves a company's executive board. Showrunner Bruno Heller. This one's written by Bruno Heller and directed by Kevin Dowling.
Yeah, this one started off kind of interesting.
Yeah, so like this, they said like, yeah, so like the Attorney General gets some weird email, cryptic, like not poetry, but like a riddle or whatever, and some coordinates. And so they go out there, and Jane's like trying to make it a picnic, and Van Pelt gets left behind to make phone calls.
Yeah, basically the letter said something. It was kind of written in a certain prose, but it said like a greedy person will die at so many degrees north by whatever bunch of the coordinates. And they immediately dispatched the CBI team, which made me wonder as soon as this happens, like, I wonder if the real Attorney General of California, like, if they responded to threats, like, how many of those does he get a day? Someone's gonna die. I mean, a state that big.
Yeah, they go out and they're in like, I forget where it is, but like Jane's making some comment about like how this used to be like a sea, and there would be dinosaurs swimming around, and he picks up something that's supposed to be a fossil, but Joe's like, this is a goat turd that's 6 days old.
I remember that.
Joe once again never fails to to bring the comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, then it reaches the time they're supposed to be there and nothing happens. And then Jane's like, well, just wait a bit. And then just comically, a man just falls out of the sky and dies in front of them.
Yeah, you hear a noise like a dive bomber from World War II, like some kind of aircraft, but it has an effect, how do you say that? It has like that kind of effect to it, like a plane, like a prop plane is just really pulling through the sky. And then, some guy just basically just like falls from the air, smashes into the ground.
And then,
and then the guy, you find out he's like a human resources guy, like a senior guy for this company called Carnelian.
Yeah, well, no, it's like a board of executives, and it's called Carnelian, which I imagine is that like a red flower or something.
I think so.
Because every episode has either it says red in the title or whatever is referring to is red. So
yeah, it's something that represents red or red in a foreign language or something.
Yeah. The body is David Whitaker. He was part of a skydiving group, and this is clearly become sabotage.
And it's always the human resources guy, because all writers hate human resources. Well, all of us really do too. So if you're a human resources professional out there, this is what we're all thinking.
Was it an HR? I thought it was just a board of executives. I thought they're all rich assholes.
Though, I mean, it's a private equity firm, which immediately is like a big bright sign that means scum.
Yeah.
But they made him like part of human resources because everyone hates human resources people. So it's like, oh yeah, so we don't feel.
Also, you always point out, like how you say, like how the writers of this show and probably Bruno Heller himself just really hate rich people, which they are probably by now rich people themselves.
Self-loathing, yeah.
But also, like, this is like, the deep in the heart of the Great Depression of 2008. So it's like,
the Greater Depression, yeah.
That like, it's like rich assholes make like the perfect target, because you can, like, it's like, well, who cares if they're dead, but somebody has to investigate it. Or sometimes even more heartbreaking, where it's like an innocent person in the wake of the rich person dies, and the rich person doesn't care, and everything moves on. But the annoying rich guy is Richard Falk, who is immediately suspicious. So you figure like that's the misdirect. It's like, well, he's obviously the killer. So
he's just an asshole to the cop who showed up and was like, yeah, one of your guys just got chucked out of a plane. I mean, actually, it wasn't chucked out. It was a skydiving. But his chute got sabotaged or something. And he's immediately like, I'm not canceling my plans. Not even like in light of this threat and this stuff. But he's just like, no, we're still going to have the retreat, even though someone we worked with just died obviously of murder. It's like, nope, we're not doing this. And so he's immediately establishing himself as just an asshole.
But then we have our first, because they go through things who would threaten the board and for what reason, and who'd add access to the hangar that had the parachutes in it. And so our first suspect is Lee Skelling, who is a war vet that worked for one of their aircraft, like, because it's like like you said, like an equity firm, so they just own stuff. So they own like some airline. Yeah. And this guy has beef with them because they offered like a bonus if you came up with something that would lessen the cost of manufacturing, and he did, and they never gave him the money. So he's
yeah. Which I learned from that. It's like, just get everything in writing.
Yeah.
Or no, didn't this holding company buy the other company? And
Yeah. So like, yeah,
the honor your contracts.
Yeah.
Which that happens in real life too. So.
Yep. So, yeah, it's just a company that sells itself to itself and is no longer has to pay money to
any
people.
Obligations to their employees, only the shareholders, important people.
That's all we find out. Like, yeah, this guy has a military background. This also we find out that Cho is apparently in the military as well. We don't know to what extent, but he, the guy asked him like, "Are you a vet?" And he says, "Yes, I was." Or, "You have any military experience?" He's like, "Yes." And so, but that's not elaborated on yet. So, also this guy, the Lee Skelly, and his wife has cancer, so that's why they're hard up for money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, funny the alibi that the guy kind of used. Well, it's not an alibi because he doesn't have an alibi. That's why they're in there. But like he says, like, you can't kill rich people and get away with it. That's the line he uses.
Yeah, he's probably right too. Because if that was the case, well, it'd be a different world.
Well, the investment group is still having like their retreat, and so Jane goes over there and he just like breaks down and insults everybody in the group.
Yeah.
But they do point out one of the guys was a Marine. So it's like, okay, is that going to be the suspect? Because later on there's a bomb, and they say that only like somebody in the military who knew how to wire.
Only
it up.
Marines know how to build those bombs.
Well, I think they said Army particularly, and then I was like, oh, it's going to be the Marine guy then. But anyways, yeah, we have Jane and Lisbon do a trust fall, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. It builds their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have it's called the John Q. Public Killer. He sends another riddle to CBI, which, Jane unravels as there's a bomb, like at the house underneath one of the executives. So they go back there.
Paul's house.
Yeah. Well, it's like this retreat. So yeah, it's like,
yeah.
Actually, I think is it Jack? Yeah. Oh, it's Jake. I think this might be Jake's place, like, because he's the guy that gets pinned on later on. Anyways, but it wouldn't be a problem for Falk to own it, and Oz would just own this anyways. Anyways, oh yeah. Also, they're looking for see if someone's shorting the stock. So it's also at the time this would probably be very current.
Yeah.
And then so they're back at the retreat. They just I think. Yeah, they discover the bomb, but like it wasn't gonna go off. And then you have Nadia, who's part of the group, are playing paintballs, or some paintball thing retreat, and so she like flanks the Marine guy, shoots him with paintballs. It's like, ha ha ha. And then she's just immediately shot with a real gun.
Yeah.
Which is just funny.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, they're mixing the game up now. It's like, one of you has real guns, the rest of you has paintballs. Find out who. We're building trust.
Yeah, it's like Child's Play 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they make it a point, which is also just another misdirect, where like Jake makes an entrance. And it's just this like cowboy guy with a big handlebar mustache, and he's like, "Hey Jake, is everything okay?" And then like he's like, "Yep." And it's like, is that guy the murderer? Because there's no way to point him out like that for no reason near the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And then they find out like the bullets used on Nadine are like super specific to like a sporting shootout in like 1989 or something like that.
Okay, so it's like they're like cowboy action gun rounds or something.
Yeah, but they knew it was so and yeah, so they go this whole rigmarole where they like are like pinning it on Jake, but like they're falsely doing it because Jane never believes that Skelling is the murderer, and he also never believes that Jake is the murderer. He just always knows it's Falk, but doesn't point it out. And he brings the bomb in, and he's able to get Falk to basically like they pretend like he replaces like the C4 or whatever with like clay, and he's able to like get Falk to properly disarm the bomb, and that basically just proves that he's the guilty one. For reasons. I wrote down the dialogue. It says, where like Falk is like, it's like, there's no proof of this, and then he's like, I'm sure legal proof will be found. I don't care personally. I just like knowing I'm right. Which is like, that's like Jane's narcissism on display.
Yeah.
Because like, not all the time are these, because the horrible things happen to his family. This isn't just like, sometimes this stuff is just fun for him.
Yeah.
It's not about like actually bringing justice all the time.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like a game. It's like, well, we won.
It's revealed that Nadia was going to she was going to go to a new company. She was filing sexual harassment charges against Falk, and then she was also shorting the stock all at the same time. Yeah. And so the first killing was a misdirect by Falk for some reason, and the bomb was another misdirect, but the real kill was supposed to be Nadia. That's who he wanted to kill in the first place. And then and at the end, like Jane kind of bluffs his way while Falk is waiting for his lawyer to get him to make like a plea deal, and I guess Jade negotiates like $500,000, goes to Skelling and his family because his wife has cancer and he has like 3 kids. So
yeah,
his kid pulled a shotgun on the CBI agent. So yeah, it was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was. It had its ups and downs, but it wasn't. It's become very a comfortable episode of The Mentalist. Nothing too jarring.
Oh, it was like fun, and I guess this is an episode written by the showrunner, so
yeah,
they made it kind of lighter. Although they just completely kicked Van Pelt out of the episode, essentially. We don't need you.
What would Jesus say about this? Okay, time to go.
I mean, they also kicked Risby out of the episode. He's like not in it at all.
Yeah.
Cho at least gets like 3 lines.
Yeah. He gets the first funny.
Yeah.
About the fossilized goat turd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then for our third show, we have Miami Vice, Season 1, Episode 17, The Maze, original air date, February 22nd, 1985, NBC Friday. A group of young punks kill a cop and then take hostages, including an undercover Tubbs, while negotiators try to end the situation without more bloodshed, and a SWAT team closes in. Showrunner Michael Mann, written by Michael Eric Stein, directed by Tim Zinnerman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like Tubbs and Crockett are just like hanging out with other cops, and then they just hear a commotion off in the distance, and those cops just like start running towards the commotion, guns drawn. And then
some street punks are shaking down a shop owner for something.
Yeah,
you don't know exactly what's going on.
Some protection racket, presumably. And then it's who is it? It's you have Tim. That's the guy.
Yeah, it's a very young J.O. Sanders.
You might not recognize the name, but he's another character who's literally been in hundreds of things, and you've probably seen at least half of them. He's just like that dude, that big-faced dude. Yeah. There's not like neat there's like on a full sprint and just like shooting his gun. It's like that seems wildly inappropriate.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like safe. Well, because they're talking about they immediately establish a difference between Crockett and Tubbs and Durea and Hawkins, who are the other 2 detectives. because they're saying how they're out walking down the street in this neighborhood, and they're like, yeah, this is what community action does. Like Crockett and Tubbs are saying, yeah, this neighborhood used to be a war zone, now it's improved, and they're having this conversation by the car, just as like this shakedown occurs, and the two detectives, DeRay and Hawkins, just take off running down the street at a full sprint, trying to stop whatever's going on with these broken windows or whatever, and then the Escobar brothers.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool like dynamic shootout, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Because like even though like it doesn't make sense, like somebody running at a full sprint and shooting a gun looks cool.
Yeah, oh yeah.
At night with like all the lights going on in the Miami like storefronts or whatever, and then there's like stuff where like there's guys in the back of a truck just like firing away, and a guy like chasing after them, and they're like, throw him a gun, and it's like
yeah, these are all fully automatic weapons too.
Some like teenagers from somehow like wind up with like the weapons cache of a John Woo movie.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a cool like running shootout.
Yeah. That just like anticlimactically kind of ends where it's just like Tubbs and Crockett like trying to look for people, and it's like, oh, they're gone, and then it's like, Dickie's dead. Which that's the one guy's partner. It's
Tim DeRay's partner, Hawkins.
Yeah.
Dickie Hawkins.
But yeah, apparently like this is like some old gang. Well, not really old gang, but like these kids were like in juvie or something. Like they just got out, and like, well, we're trying to bring the gang back to the neighborhood. And so
yeah, they're described as like small time cocaine dealers.
Yeah,
who just like they were kids and they got arrogant one night and killed a cop, and now they're like major criminals. But like I said, they're fully automatic weapons. And they're running around shooting at killing a cop, and it's like, yeah.
But is it
end up being held up at a hotel room or in a giant, like,
just some abandoned building, multi-story building.
Yeah, it's like an old hotel from like the old times, like the 50s or 60s or something.
Yeah,
it's a real place. It was actually demolished like not long after this was made.
Oh, okay.
So,
because I was like, what are those buildings? Those buildings exist. It's like, what's this thing that nobody uses but somebody owns? And it's like, oh, it's just like somebody owns a building and it's worth like nothing. But like, if the city wants to build something there, like they're just waiting for the city to pay them out the ass for this land that they own.
Yeah. I guess the history on that real quick for why this is in the show is a lot of things in Miami, especially built near the coast. Like this was right on the coast.
Yeah,
I mean, you could see the ocean from this building. Is the salt decays those buildings to the point that they, the different people buy them as they degrade, and then eventually they just become, you got to tear them down. But by the time it's to that point, it's just like an eyesore that a bunch of immigrants wind up in because you can squat there, which is like that stuff really happens, like or you used to happen. I don't know if it happens anymore.
Yeah.
Miami's one of those cities where they'll build something, tear it down in 10 years, and build something else.
like those places. Like half of China.
Yeah.
Hey, we built this city. Like nobody lives here. Demolish it.
And then build it again.
Yeah.
This time, don't spray concrete from like a pressure sprayer over cardboard and call that a building. It doesn't work anymore. Looks cool for a while till the cardboard breaks down and then the concrete collapses. It's really something that happens in China. I'm not making that up. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's on the case and they're trying to like investigate the neighborhood, but like nobody either has information or wants to give up anything, and they end up at a dance club for a scene that like takes way too long. Like, we really gotta watch this guy dance. It's like
a really indulgent scene of 80s dancing.
I guess that guy who was the dancer, I guess he was like in was it Breakin'?
Okay.
which everybody knows the sequel, which is Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh yeah,
But-
that led to the Capitol riots. Yeah, so that's how this guy's connected to the Capitol riots.
Yeah, so they're able to get information, and they get to this building, and then Zito and Switek find the building owner, and then they get like detailed plans so that they can go like assault the building and get. It's fucking weird because it's like Tubbs like puts on this whole like you think maybe it's a new undercover thing, but it's just Tubbs' Jamaican character, but now he's a singer and he's got a guitar, and he's just looking for a place to squat.
That song he was singing is an actual song, and they played the musical part of it, and he was singing it as he was walking up to the hotel. That was kind of weird.
And then so
Yeah,
Tubbs,
well, they want him to go in there to get the civilians out.
yeah,
Or
they
to
want
get the non-criminal people out.
yeah, because they established that there's squatters there and this gang,
Yeah,
and like they just want the gang, and they're selling drugs out of there too. But yeah, so he's supposed to infiltrate and also like get a hold of the situation. But then the one with Hawk or Hawkins or what's his? Well, I have him listed as Tim.
Dorea. Yeah.
Tim, yeah. Dorea just decides oh, we're going in, and then so he runs in, and then like nothing goes well, and then Tubbs ends up kind of like staying with the people, and it ends up being a hostage crisis.
And they have a weird long shootout with the police when Dorea like jumps the gun.
Yeah,
Where all these Miami cops are just hammering away at this one window where the guy's shooting a machine gun out. However, there's no like impacts anywhere. The building's not like shrouded in dust. Where the cops are standing by is not getting hit by bullets. So
yeah.
apparently,
Well,
that's known as the Blue Water Hotel, by the way.
Okay. Well, I mean, we know why that is now. So
Yeah,
because it's too expensive to rig. It takes too long and too expensive to rig squibs to like be holes in those buildings.
yeah. And also might have caused the building to collapse too.
But yeah, then we start to come back from like a break, and then we start to like get the people inside the building. There's just like some young girl and a young Ving Rhames as a Jamaican destitute who's like looking for work but can't get it because he doesn't have a green card or something.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I was like, that's Ving Rhames. It's like 15.
And then also they go back to the cop side, and we have Joe Morton shows up as the head of SWAT, and like that's everybody will remember him as Miles Dyson from Terminator 2.
Yeah, I thought that's who that was. Is he gonna release a robot into the building?
And the gang is just a bunch of kids with guns. Like one kid's got a Spaz 12 shotgun. One guy's got an MP5.
A shotgun of the 80s.
Yeah.
Like you can stop tanks, shoot aircraft. That's why they banned it here, even though it was just a shotgun.
Yeah.
It just looks scary. I think Reagan banned that. So it became the immediate go-to.
Yeah.
This is the bad guy.
I mean, it was it looked cool, but it was a semi-auto shotgun that could also be pump, and it was meant for like military use. And then so like if you're military or if whatever pre-ban, you can still get those. But yeah, they look cool as shit though.
Yeah,
because that's why it was both semi-auto and pump. Is like if you have all the same rounds, you can use it as semi-auto. But like if you're gonna do like what they call like a candy cane load, where it's a bunch of different shells, or if it's like beanbag rounds or stuff, where that stuff doesn't necessarily like reliably cycle the action, then you'd pump it. So you'd switch the pump action. But like Benelli makes a bunch of ones. I think it was the Benelli M3 was both pump and semi-auto, but also there's just like Remington and Mossberg reliable ones they've been making for 80 years. That it's like no reason to replace it.
Yeah, you don't need to let's make this super elaborate. It's like it's not. It's just.
Like shotguns are useful, but also completely obsolete in a lot of ways. So.
Yeah. Well, unless you get the new fin stabilized slugs. can go further than bullets. It's like cost 10 times as much as bullets. It's like, well, just get a gun and shoot bullets. Here we go down a gun rabbit hole again.
Yeah, it's oh yeah. At some point, that they're negotiating with the guys, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll get you a helicopter, $100,000," and we all know that that's never going to happen, or at least they're going to pretend. But then they're really, and so they're just working on their raid. And like when they start to when the SWAT guys start to get together for the raid, they're playing this weird song because it's the exact bell chime that the Taco Bell commercials use.
Yeah.
It's just chiming over and over again, and it's just like and now I'm hungry for Taco Bell, and I can't find. Also, the weirdest thing, and maybe this is just the arsenal I had, but like it makes almost no sense, the guns that the SWAT guys have. It's like we got one AR-15 and a bunch of SMGs from World War II.
Yeah.
and nobody seems to have like a special position. It's like, yeah, we need this gun for this purpose. It's like, no, it's just a grab bag of guns.
Just like the Terminator scene. Just like going through a basement full of guns. Who's got the Breen gun? Well, what are we pulling out here?
And I'm betting it's because like we gave all the cool guns to the gang, and like these are the guns that are left over in our TV movie arsenal, and so we're just gonna give that to the SWAT guys.
Yeah, we got the like the guns from the Dirty Dozen. Some guys like. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw someone putting a drum on a top. Here we go.
And, one guy with an AR-15 with a 10-round mag.
Yeah. What, is he put a magazine in there? What's wrong with that? Oh. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, it's our obsessing over too many guns. But anyways, sometimes it's fun.
It is funny to see when you watch this stuff, like because at the time this was shown, it was just exciting.
Yeah.
And it was like shown once, and then maybe in syndication. Like no one was expecting anyone to go over these episodes granularly. So when you do, it's like, oh, that's ridiculous. that's obviously rubber.
I mean, I bet there are SWAT departments that are just like, they're not that well funded, and like, this is what we have. But this is like Miami-Dade SWAT, which is like one of the biggest and most efficient SWAT teams in the United States.
Yeah. And they have Vietnam era M16s. Which, they would have been 15, 20 years old at the time this show was made. Like, I doubt they'd have those.
And those would be effective, but like everybody should have one. There shouldn't be one. And then
it shouldn't be pick and mix. It's like, we got the musket. The musket guy goes in first, and then you cover it.
Yeah, it's like that one episode in the swamps where just everybody has all different kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
it's might as well be, but these guys just have uniforms.
Yeah, it's the only thing that sets them apart. Like, or maybe that's just the theme of the because that was the theme of the '80s. Like the criminals have better guns than us. That was kind of because that's like back when a lot of cops had revolvers and stuff, and then like in Miami there were people that just had fully automatic Mac 10s. And they were mainly shooting at like drug gangs shooting at each other, and the police were just kind of called to clean it up. And they're like, "Yeah, we're completely outgunned." And now it's completely the opposite, where like police forces are driving like,
police forces are military forces now,
driving like MRAPs and stuff down the street with grenade launchers on the top. Like, who are you going to fight? Cops? Someone got like some kind of.
This is for your protection. Please stay indoors.
Someone got artillery hidden in their house. Like, what are you going after? Oh.
Anyways, so the hostage crisis breaks down. All these kids are getting killed. A Tubbs saves one of the youngest kid, from getting killed by Tim, the out of control cop.
And he has a very 80s scene with Tim, where Tubbs is like, "You're not a good cop." Like, oh, this is totally 80s. Yeah, this is really showing its age here. You're a bad cop.
Learn your lesson.
You're a better cop.
You should kill yourself when you go home.
With a sword, like a ritual. Curved sword. Oh, man.
But make it look like an accident so your family gets money.
Yeah. Don't be selfish in two ways.
But yeah, this episode was okay.
This was a borderline silly sode. It had
Yeah.
all the elements of being cool.
Yeah,
It was terrible that like the younger brothers got killed because their older brother was just an idiot.
well,
It
also,
didn't really resonate very much.
yeah, well, also there's like that rape scene, which is weird, and then there's like, well, I mean, every rape scene is going to be weird. It's like, I don't want to watch this. Why are we spending 5 minutes on this? I mean, that was just to get Ving Rhames killed, but and you have that.
There was a rape after that. I mean, I think he was going to do it, and then when he killed Ving Rhames, I think everyone kind of like, I don't.
Yeah, then things got real, and then like at the end, it's extra punctuation because that's when the kid just breaks down and starts crying, and that's where you're really supposed to like, this person who is a villain the whole time, you're supposed to realize, oh, he's just a kid, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at fault and he's going to take the fall for this, but like, this is a weird world where he thought like this was the only way he could survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, this felt like an episode that like would have been cool had it been like a 2-parter.
Yeah.
But or if they did things more efficiently, it's like, hey, we can lose this whole dance party scene. Even though I like the Crockett walking in and kind of whistling a tune, we could lose that and add more to like the build up and like, and make it almost like a Die Hard episode, even though this precedes Die Hard. Like this is how we're going to take the building and get in there. So it seemed like there's the framework of it seemed good, but it seemed a little rushed. And so,
yeah,
it's kind of just happens sometimes.
That's what I call the silly sods. It's like, well, this could have been cool, but it kind of fell flat on its face, when you make 26 episodes of a TV show a year, they're not all going to be hits. Well,
if you look at the guy who directed it, he has kind of an interesting history where he's kind of like an AD or like assistant director, which that's usually like a person that's like just corrals the cats that are in Hollywood, that are Hollywood elite. That's usually what that person is. He did like some second unit photography stuff, and he was also a producer on a lot of movies that but not for being good. He produced like the Street Fighter movie. He produced Running Man. He produced Pet Sematary, but it was a lot of failures in between there. So,
those are a lot of almost cool movies.
Yeah.
Because the Running Man's only cool in retrospect. At the time, it was just kind of weird. It's like, Richard Dawkins is a bad guy. Oh, look, an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Let me look. I guess I can look it up real quick. Sometimes I get scared about like not keeping the momentum of a podcast episode and looking stuff up, and that's like, well, this is edited later, so it really doesn't matter. But
you could make it sound like brilliant insight, like you just have this at your fingertips, and we'll cut off the discussion in between.
Not director. Oh, I guess this is the only episode he directed.
Okay.
But yeah, producer. We got. When's the first thing you're going to recognize?
Oh no, I've seen a lot of weird shit. You might be surprised.
So I'm gonna start with Running Man, and then we got Pet Sematary, and then we have Street Fighter, and then we have his last movie he produced was The Island of Dr. Moreau. Okay,
yeah, that was known for its wonderful smooth production, really being successful, bringing the best of best actors. I mean, 'cause you got Val Kilmer, you got guy from Apocalypse Now, Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Neither one of those are contentious actors to work with. They're nicer than Tom Hanks, I've heard. And then have a real fucked up production cycle. It's like, yeah.
There's like a great book that's just like entirely about the production of that movie that is wild. Or actually, I think it's a documentary.
I've watched the documentary. Maybe it's the same thing because I've seen it. Yeah, it's like amazing. It's like, this is like some of the. How did anyone think any of this was going to work? Even on paper, it's like, when did this sound like a good idea? And don't get me wrong, The Island of Dr. Moreau is a cool story.
And there's stuff in that movie that's like, that's neat, but
yeah, they did cool stuff there, but it did not hang together at all.
yeah,
Like some of those costumes and stuff were amazing, and some of them were horrible.
yeah.
It's like that's a weird mix of, well, you got the pig man wrong, but the turtle man's kind of cool. And it's like, well, heck, how'd you fuck that up? But the pig man's the main character. The turtle guy you see in the back, okay, whatever. Yeah, I remember watching that documentary. It was weird because right before that, I watched the one that it's hard to find now. The Francis Ford Coppola's wife made it, called Hearts of Darkness. The making of Apocalypse Now. That's a really cool movie documentary. It's hard to find though.
I think it's available streaming somewhere.
Okay.
I think it's like on Amazon. Like I think they have it on there. But yeah, it was really hard to find it for various rights issues or whatever.
But yeah, so I watched that and then the Dr. Moreau documentary, like back to back, about filmmaking. Two very different films, equally fraught with, problems with great actors. I think
one is remembered for greatness and the other isn't.
It's not.
And that's like worse. Like with Apocalypse Now, it's like, look at all these bad things happen, but you know what? At the end of the day, they made art, and it stood the test of time. It's like, Island Dr. Moreau, you wasted all this time, and nobody will remember anything about this other than it was garbage.
Yeah, it'll be like that Troll 2. It's like, right next to that is like, yeah, this is some of the worst crap ever made, and there was no reason for the movie to be made. Because it's like, this is going to be bad, and it's like, oh, it's even worse than bad.
Anyways, if you like what you heard, you can, you listen to this somehow, but I'll say it all the time. You can find us at anchor.fm/Verhoeven Effect. The way I like to remember how to spell Verhoeven is Verho, Verho, and then even at the end. You can rate our podcast on wherever you listen to this to. You can rate it whatever you want, but the only thing they listen to is if you rate it 5 stars. So rate it 5 stars and say you listen to this podcast gets you through the workday. So that way you don't have to think of anything yourself. You just put that in and then we're good to go. Yeah. Whether you believe it or not. Because remember, you control the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't control you. We have listener support there at anchor.fm. You can support this podcast at a monthly stipend of 99 cents or $4.99 or $9.99. You can find us at Twitter at Verhoeven Effect. I just put up when these episodes go out, so I don't have a lot of ideas for what to do with Twitter. I don't have like a fake pseudonym to work behind the Verhoeven Effect account.
Don't worry, Twitter doesn't know what to do with Twitter. So
we are on Facebook at Verhoeven Effect, or whatever it is now. I'm pretty sure Facebook will remain Facebook. It's the holding company's now called Meta, which is garbage. You can listen to our other podcast called American Greed Factory. We are on YouTube at American Greed Factory. So Nathan has the shirt. You can watch us live and unedited for both these podcasts at YouTube there. We have t-shirts at belowthecollar.com/Greed Factory. Nathan has the white shirt and I have the black shirt now up for sale there as well.
Oh, God damn it. I bought the white one.
And I'm working on a Verhoeven Effect t-shirt. I just, it's all in my mind, which is the cheapest thing the cheapest thing in the world is an idea. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Greed Factory, where right now all I do is in the morning I have what's called Puzzles and Podcasts, where I listen to other podcasts and play puzzle games. I intend to have more features later on, but I don't want to just I want to have an audience before I do things, and just instead of just talking to myself in front of video games or have a co-host. Anyways. So yeah, that's for the Verhoeven Effect podcast. I'm Colin.
I'm Nathan.
Goodbye, America.